going to do what I want.
How old are you?
35.
Do you think that there's going to come a day when this is going to be tired? And if it does come a day, do you think you're ever going to go the marriage route? Is that possible at this point?
So look, I'm a gambler, but I don't want to bet half my net worth I'm going to love the girl forever. But, it's that not to say that I wouldn't, have a girlfriend or, I'm capable of being monogamous. It's just, for me, it's more about options, really. Like, at the end of the day, like, it comes down to most guys are in relationships, I feel like, because it's either, hey, I'm going to jerk off on Saturday night, or I got to put up with her shit and I get laid, and it's like, and a lot of it's out of laziness, a lot of it's out of lack of options, whatever the case may be, but it's not correct. Like, for me, I think a correct relationship is a guy that could be fucking, 5 or 10 girls, and he chooses to hang out with this one girl because he likes her, he likes hanging out with her, and she hangs out with him because she enjoys his company. And regardless of what the reason is, because a lot of people are like, oh, that girl's a gold digger, or they want to hate on him. But, at the end of the day, if a guy has made his money from, successful business and, being smart and he hasn't fucked it off, like, or he's a doctor or whatever, that to me is more of a part of who that guy is than a girl that's just born hot. So for a guy to like a girl just because she's hot, I feel like is like the most superficial thing of all time.
Well, I mean, she has to be nice, too. She can't, hopefully.
She does, but I'm saying a lot of guys are with a girl just because she's hot, and they don't really get as much shit as a girl that's with a guy because he's successful or because he has money.
It's true. It is true. It is true. Like, the guy who earned that money, it's his character and his willpower and his discipline that's allowed him, his smarts has allowed him to earn that money, or he just got lucky as fuck.
There's definitely some lucky ones, but you also have to hold on to it. You know, once you got money, you got every asshole and their mother with their hand out, trying to scam you, and it's easy to fuck it off or make bad investments or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it is. It is a funny little situation there, isn't it? Because like it's also the way women are allowed to dress. Even like a respectable woman is allowed to have her tits pressed together and pushed up, and she's allowed to have a skirt that's just like a little light vagina curtain, And that's really all it is. And little panties underneath and smooth legs and high heels. The whole thing is sex.
Well,
it's just selling lust.
Let's talk about bathing suits. I mean, the fact that every bathing suit now is basically a thong, and the fact that like a bathing suit shows more than like the most revealing underwear back in the day ever used to, right? Yeah. But it's like completely socially acceptable. Then on Halloween, they can wear even less than that.
They paint their
tits.
And it's
okay. Yeah, it's like literally butt naked.
They're allowed to wear paint.
Yeah.
When the fuck did paint become clothes? Imagine we put paint on our dick and went out. You get arrested, right?
Yeah.
Well, how come a girl can wear paint on her tits, but you can't wear paint on your dick? I want to know.
Yeah,
I want to know.
Well, it's a double standard.
It is a double standard. Nobody wants to see your dick painted up. That's why.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like American flag or something.
Yeah, I don't want to see a bunch of zebra dicks around either.
It is weird. There are weird double standards, but it's also people don't want to open their mouth because they don't want, first of all, they don't want anybody to think that they, like, why do women get to do this? And what are you complaining? Poor guy. You don't want to hear that. But it's also when men complain about the double standard in like marriage, like what you said, as far as it being a gamble, it's a terrible gamble for a wealthy man. It's terrible. Because like it's essentially a financial agreement. Yeah. It's not a love agreement.
Well, no, you're asking the government permission to be with a girl, and if you decide that you don't want to be with them, now you have to go ask the government, and then you have to get lawyers involved, and it's this whole process that, in my eyes, it makes both parties feel not both parties, because usually it's kind of like a magnet, like one is pushing a little bit further than the other, and it's so there's one kind of like always chasing or whatever. So for me, it just makes the party that's a little bit less invested just feel trapped. And when you're in a relationship and you feel trapped, the first thing you want to do is run, right? So you got this one person, that inevitably ends up feeling trapped, and the other person, kind of gets lazy or complacent. And I feel like it just snowballs. There's like a lot of momentum things, right? So if relationships just starts kind of going downhill and you're trapped in it because you're legally bound, I just feel like it's just going to get worse and worse, and the girl's going to stop giving the blowjobs, and the guy's going to resent it, and then maybe he cheats. You know what I mean? It's like this whole cycle that just wouldn't happen if you were hanging out because you wanted to hang out. Because let's face it, if you're hanging out with a chick and you like her and she's cool, and then she just decides to just completely let herself go and she turns into a fat ass, or she just like stops wanting to have sex with you, you're just going to fuck other girls, or you're just not going to hang out with her, right? But if you're married to her, you don't really have a choice. I mean, now you're kind of like, you got to ask the government permission and, this and that.
Yeah, you got to get lawyers involved. You live in the same place. You got to, it takes forever. You have to agree on terms, and you have to pay for her lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, how brutal is that? Like, you're like literally like trapped in the same house as the person. It's just like, fuck, man.
It can get crazy. It can get crazy, and I've seen it get crazy. I'm sure you have too. Yeah. When people get divorced, I mean, it is one of the most stressful things a person can go through in their life. And when you're working all day, and if she's not working, that's when it's really crazy. I had a buddy who was going through a divorce. His wife never worked. And he was working, 10, 12 hours a day, just busting his ass constantly at his own business. And she would be fucking off and doing whatever she wanted during the day. He had to pay for all that on top of paying for her lawyer. And her lawyer was trying to fuck him. And then he had to pay for his lawyer to battle her lawyer. And they all just dragged the whole thing out. It took over a year and a half for him to get divorced. So it's a year and a half, this poor bastard he's free now, but goddamn, but try to get him married now. He'll fucking shoot you in the face if you even bring up that word. It's like he went through it.
I mean, they have a term for it in gambling. It's negative free roll. It's where you can basically only lose. You have no upside. Like for instance, a negative free roll is like if I were to tell you, hey, if you can go bench press 300 pounds, I'll give you $10,000. Well, I just can't win anything. You know what I mean? Because if you can't do it, then I don't get anything. So it's kind of like, in my eyes, I just feel like it's a situation where you can just lose. It's kind of like my buddy, he got into a relationship and he just like dove in like super hardcore really fast. And I just told him, I said, look, like, I just feel like you don't have a lot of upside by doing that because, you can get hurt. And if you just take it slow, like worst case scenario, you just weren't quite as close for a month. But I said, if it doesn't work out, then now you invested, all this time and this effort. And it's like, and I feel like because he went so hardcore for this girl, it kind of like, sometimes it makes them run away a little bit because they know people, they just by nature want what they can't have, right? So if you just give it all to them immediately, then it's kind of like...
They're like, look at this bitch.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of like lose respect for you a little bit.
It can happen or it can be perfect. Relationships just have to be organic. That's what it really has to be. And as soon as you involve legal contracts, it's not organic anymore.
Exactly. Like once I feel like once it starts to be forced in any way, then